When we talk about the best that JLA has to offer, I think of F-Pace. And if you want something completely outrageous, the F-Pace SVR is the model that comes to mind. Because the F-Pace SVR has the supercharged 5-liter V8 with all of the character that that engine brings this car. So in this review, I'm going to tell all about the Jaguar F-Pace SVR. The Jaguar F-Pace is the same size as a BMW X3 competition, the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio, and those types of performance SUVs. The tires, 295 in the rear, 265 in the front. Winter tires, winter rims, but SVR logo on the rims. Here, the car is mainly rear-wheel bias, so this car has four-wheel drive, but it's rear-wheel bias, like the BMW counterparts. The boot space in this Jaguar F-Pace is claimed to be 650 liters. I think it's closer to just about 500, but luckily there's basically no loading lip. Easy to get stuff in and out, and quite wide. The wheel arches doesn't go that far into the rear luggage space, even though the rear tires are really wide. These sport seats fill my entire vision. They are incredible. The metal, the stitching, just the shape of it. I'm sitting quite comfortably in the front, which means that I have okay amount of knee space. Luckily, I have quite a good amount of lower thigh support. It's a C-Class SUV, which means that, well, it won't be the biggest, so I will give it some slack for that. Luckily, I have decent amount of headroom, both to the top and to the sides. I even have a really big panoramic sunroof. This is an incredible spec of a car. The white seats here with the blacked out upper part, Alcantara style, individual climate controls, it feels incredibly luxurious, but at the same time quite sporty. They have really nailed the balance between the two. Talk about the interior. The seats, they look quite aggressive in the rear. They're not too aggressive here in the front sitting in them, but they do give you a lot of support. Fit really good in them. You can't be too big to fit comfortably in them though, because the side support down on the thighs is quite aggressive. The SVR treatment, the SVR badge, the stitching, the outside part here, the SVR logo on the gear shift selector, and of course if I start the car, the supercharged V8 sound. Unique in the SVR is that you have an exhaust button to open the valves, and you really hear the difference. They also have pads behind the steering wheel in metal. They're a bit soft, but the throw is really short, so really easy to control the gear shifts. Digital gauge cluster and the PV Pro infotainment system gives you all the necessary information. A bit dull on the colors, I reviewed it before. I think it's a really good infotainment system, not too much, just gives you all the necessary information. Of course, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Many controls on the AC, many controls to go into different driving modes, many controls on the steering wheel, but the buttons are a bit old. The touch on some of them, not the best, but all in all, such a unique character of interior. The shape here on the Alcantara, the lower light material, the metal, wow. There's a lot to unpack with this car. First of all, it's a great cruiser. Long legs with a great gearbox that works almost seamlessly, together with that torquey supercharged V8. It does all the usual stuff an F-Pace should be able to do, and more. Just don't find yourself surprised standing at the gas station more than you're used to. It's a fantastic car that feels old school, mechanical in its setup. No complicated hybrid powertrains to be on the market for that little longer, or air suspension that's trying to control the body weight with all its might. That power plant is the talking piece of this car. But unless the rest of the chassis was not up to par with it, the F-Pace SVR would fall face first. Thankfully, that is not the case. It has been finely tuned to an inch of its fairly long lifespan. The four-wheel drive keeps you safe but sends enough power to the rear to create some necessary rotation. The steering is wonderfully calibrated, which in turn makes it feel smaller than it actually is. Some highly strung sedans could take some real notes. And you can never forget about the drama that is played constantly from the tailpipes. It's a fantastic car, this is, but not without its competition. The BMW X3M, arguably faster and definitely more hardcore. The new Mercedes GLC 63S, powerful but complicated, and with that 4-cylinder, yeah. And then there's the Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio with its wonderful turbocharged 6-cylinder. The Alfa and the F-Pace is the last of the last. Not the fastest, not at the forefront of technology, but who cares? They are the last of the analog high-performance SUVs. To finalize or summarize the F-Pace SVR, the last hurrah of not only the F-Pace but also the supercharged 5-liter V8. It is an incredible amount of emotions. This engine brings the F-Pace to life, and the engineering behind everything is up to par and can handle that humongous V8. The suspension is stiff enough to control everything. The steering gives enough feedback. The price, of course, is very expensive, but that engine, just compared to all of the competition, the 4-cylinder Mercedes-AMG GLC doesn't hold a candle in terms of character. This car is all about character, and if you want something that's unique, one of a kind, and will give you a smile on your face, the F-Pace SVR is definitely the car for you.